I don't think it out too much sometimes.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, Bill looked up just in time. I thought I was going to catch him.
That's okay. I'll go back down to what I'm doing here.
Good morning, everybody.
Have too much fun. Good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody. We got a full house today.
Well, we sure do. Guys are chatting up a storm.
Yeah.
They're going crazy. Why don't you tell us who's here, Steve?
Oh, well. Oh, we got Mark Pruitt popped in. Good morning. John Tanzillo, Steve Childers, Chuck, CDP, JD, Grandpa Rails, PBR, and I forget your first name. I'm sorry. Almar, Steve Anderson, my buddy engineer Dave Todd, and my good friend Chris Brew. Wow, how are you doing? Boy, you're regular now. Let's see, my buddy Bernard. How are you doing? Boy, I tell you, you're a character, Bernard. Man, Lynn Stewart, Gerald, Lynn McCurdy, Gerald Stewart. Who else we got? Rob T, man. Good morning, Rob. Oh, man. I know we had Allie in here earlier, but she's off doing something. So. Okay, who'd I miss?
Did you get Nathan DeLay?
No, I didn't see him. And it's Thomas Moore. Good morning, Thomas. Anyway, we got Container Man. Good morning.
Yeah, Container Steve 87. You get him?
I got
Dave
Steve.
Todd's here.
Okay.
Anyway, good morning, everybody.
Yeah, good morning.
Dave Todd sent me a map of what Amtrak, the new Amtrak lines they're thinking about doing. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but he sent me one, and they got it running up through Wyoming. A couple of places, if I remember right. It was pretty funny because he said something to the effect that it'll never happen. But anyway, yeah, it would make it a lot easier to get across country, but it would be on government trains. So I don't know.
They can't make what they have.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, they're supposed to come through Tulsa too, so it might be a way to get to Houston instead of driving.
So what's everybody up to? What's everybody up to this morning?
Say it again, Steve.
I said, what's everybody up to this morning? I was getting ready for the weekend.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
We'll go do some more plastering on the layout.
There's a train show in Oklahoma City.
There is.
When.
413, 414. Festival of Trains. See, Steve Childers has it up there.
I'll have to look for that.
No idea. I might have made a point to go to that.
I don't remember seeing that. Is that may be the one put on by the Historical Society there?
You see Steve Childers or Childers' comment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in Oklahoma City. Actually, he's in
Fairgrounds.
up by Edmond area.
How far are you guys from Oklahoma City?
I'm an hour and a half.
3 for me.
3 hours, Dennis, for you? Yeah, man. Screw that.
I live in no man's land.
Dennis is way the hell out.
Literally, it was called no man's land.
He's from me. Dennis is halfway to Colorado Springs. It would take about as long to drive from his house to Colorado Springs as it does to drive from here to his house. Maybe not quite that far, but pretty close.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going from the one side of Pennsylvania to Pittsburgh. It's like 5 hours.
Yeah, we're distance the long way of Oklahoma. Right. If you're going north and south, it's not that far, but
right.
But Claude's a good 4 hours for me, give or take.
Yeah.
And it's another.
We're not as bad as Texas.
Yeah.
Roy says
drive for 12 hours in Texas and you're still in Texas.
Yeah. Dennis is in Bum-Uck, Egypt.
Yes, he is. He's way out there.
Wow.
Anyway.
Roy doesn't have a lot of room to talk.
No.
How are the fires doing out there?
And Tammy popped.
He's just north of me.
Hi, Tammy. Hey, DES Dave, what's up? Good morning.
So, Dennis, how are the fires out there now? Are they calming down some?
Yeah, we actually, after we had the huge ones between my house and Amarillo, after those kicked off, I want to say within 48 hours of those, they actually got snow, which helped considerably. Of course, when the wind changed directions, it was when they started, the wind was blowing, 90 mile an hour out of the south. The cool front came in, changed directions, and blew them all back south, which is kind of lucky on my part because they were all south of us. The ones directly south, I could drive less than 2 miles and I'm in burnt out ground between me and Gage, Oklahoma, which was a smaller fire than the one near Amarillo. But yeah, I think they've got them all under control to the best of my knowledge. I'm not sure about the ones down close to Amarillo because I don't get the news feeds there or pay much attention to it. But for sure, there's been several other little ones pop up around here. I think they have a federal firefighting force stationed just 9 miles east of me in Fort Supply, because there's vehicles there parked every day in a parking lot of a convenience store. They're not from any rural town's fire department. I don't know where they come from.
Well, I know ODF from here sent a bunch of crews out there, Oregon Department of Forestry.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I need to pull in there and look at this. I can see their signs on their vehicles, but they're not big enough that I can read them as I drive by of an afternoon.
Yeah. It's amazing when there's a disaster happens, how many states send their crews to help out. And of course, then it's reciprocal. When it happens the other way, you see them all come in. Because I know when we had the ice storm back in, whenever that was, it looked like World War III around here. And there were electric companies from as far away as Pennsylvania and places like that, and California. And I don't remember seeing it from California, but Utah was here, Colorado was here, Kansas, Nebraska was here, Texas was here. And it still took them forever to get it all straightened out. But yeah, it was amazing to see how many states will send their disaster help without it being federal. Now, I don't know if that may be how they're paying for it. I don't know, but
Probably.
Yeah, probably is. But I know we send people from Oklahoma all the time out to places. I know they went down to Katrina and they went other places too. And that's not to even talk about all the volunteer units that are like that. There's lots of volunteer units that go out too. So it's nice to know we at least hold together in those kind of situations.
Yeah. Well, they do that too, like in hurricanes here when we have power lines out.
Yeah. Well, any kind of disaster like that, whether it's ice storm or hurricanes or floods or fires, they tend to come from other places, and because they know they're going to have the help too.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Joe Rader joined. Georgia Sunbelt. Anthony. Good morning, guys. Thanks for coming in. Hey, Dennis. Speaking on fires, to get your heater thing fixed.
No, it's going to be a $12,000 fix. I'm still in shock trying to figure out what exactly it is we're going to do, but we will manage.
Yeah, you will. Just a lot of cuddling to keep warm.
Well, I guess, being as optimistic as we can, I'm glad that it happened
now
instead of in February, because we'd have been in big trouble if it happened in February. So
be careful, Dennis. You may have to talk to Gail about that before you talk about them cuddling.
They said they thought that what might have caused it was a loose connection or something that just generated enough heat, and then we're lucky the whole house didn't burn down.
Yeah. That's what you got to be thankful for is that can be replaced.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Might not be what you wanted, but it's easier, right?
Then Nathan's got a question. Is there a way to do it yourself to make it cheaper? Is it an easy fix with your heater? He's not an expert about that, but he's just curious.
I mean, I suppose the answer is yes, but not without a lot of research and time. I don't know that I've got the time to actually put in the work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about that. I've got some experience in that kind of work, but
Does this control your air condition too?
it's I could just replace the heat, but if I only replace the heat and then when the compressor goes down
Yeah.
on the air conditioning, then they'll have to basically all the labor involved in what they would do for the heat, they would have to redo for the air conditioning.
Yeah. You're
I'm
better
under
off
no
just
illusion
replacing
that
it.
the
Yeah.
compressor for the air conditioner is on, it's 15 years old. It would be my luck that just as soon as I got the heat replaced, that I would
Yeah.
have to double up on labor or whatever to replace it 6 months later. So it
Yeah.
would make the most sense. And there would probably be another way we could do it that wouldn't be as expensive. That's a heat pump. I've been told that the heat pump will save 40 to 50% on our monthly bills.
But it
So
might not be enough to heat you in your cold months.
it's a blended system, is what he told me, is that
Uh,
it will borrow from the electric system when it absolutely has to.
Yeah.
okay.
But
It's the only bad thing about a heat pump. When it gets really, really cold,
Yeah, like
you gotta have some other source.
a heat pump ain't working up here in the Northeast.
yeah,
Well, Steve was
he
asking.
said that it will
Yeah.
only make use of the electrical system when it gets to a certain temperature or whatever, and it's just for this area, it's very economical.
Right. Yeah, it could work for you down there. Yeah.
Well, you saw Steve's comment up there about the insurance. I'm sure you've already checked that, though.
Do what?
Insurance
You
company?
have to check with your insurance company?
I haven't yet, because I don't know. I mean,
I would.
I need to just to see if I do have an appliance clause. I don't
Don't,
think I
don't,
do.
don't be like my wife and I, where we've had homeowners insurance for over 45 years and have never, ever, ever made a claim. We just pay in all the time.
I've
So
made a claim
they've
on
got
my
enough money to fix your stuff.
Yeah, check with them and say.
Yeah, check with them.
No.
I need to.
Yeah.
It's worth it. What are they going to say? No, sorry.
I mean, even if you've got a couple $1,000 deductible or something like that,
Yeah,
it would still be cheaper than paying the whole thing yourself.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, by about $8,000 probably.
At least, yeah. Yeah, because if you have to do, of course, whether or not they'll pay for the whole system or not, who
No,
knows?
but, even if they do something, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, because homeowners insurance anymore, they used to pay out pretty good. Anymore, they're stingy as boy. It's almost it'd almost be better to put the money you pay for homeowners insurance in an account by itself.
They won't let
Get
you
that
though.
when you need it. Yeah.
Your loan company won't let you.
No, your loan company won't let you, but it's it's something
It's,
yeah, yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah.
They're all crooked.
It's a racket.
we should probably start talking about model railroads.
Should we do that? Okay. Okay.
Hey, Bill, what are you working on over there?
Well, let's see, Jerry. What am I working on over here? So I've actually gotten back into doing some stuff for Jerry's build.
Jerry who?
The local Jerry from Richmond. So
Jerry in Richmond. Okay.
So I've been starting to put together the electrical panel, and I'll take this and spin it around a little bit. So doing the bench build for the panel, and what I've been doing this morning before the show is I've been starting to put in the pinstriping, got micro switches since this is a DC layout that I'll put in, and I'll mark where the electrical blocks are.
Do you draw that first and then put your tape down?
No, what I'm doing is I'm just using one of the diagrams that Jerry had prepared for the layout. I shrunk it a little bit to kind of fit.
Okay.
And then I'm just sort of, freehanding
Freehand, huh?
just enough to get it, so it looks like it's supposed to. And then I'll have the little micro toggle switches scattered around here where the layouts go. Here's going to be one of the plugins for his handheld throttle. I'll attach this, drill a couple of holes in the back so that I can run the connectors in.
Is that for like a phone?
Yeah, it's a phone jack, standard phone jack. The handheld throttles plug in or will plug into this. I've just got to make sure that I wire it up correctly.
Right.
And then the panel is going to be mounted sort of like this under an edge. So this will be under the edge of the layout. And then I've got it where one hand, it's not easy, but it'll open up.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, that's nice.
We'll have this here.
That's a good idea.
I'll have some eye bolts hanging or attached into here so that I can run my wires. My toggle switches will be here, run my wires down through the eye bolt. And then underneath the layout, I've got in the frame, I've got holes drilled so that I can run my wiring through.
Cool.
And then behind this, once I get this mounted, I will figure out how to make a little shelf under the layout to put the power pack. So the power pack will be mostly concealed behind the panel. And that'll still be easy then for me to plug in from the power pack into a splitter for the control. And then one will come up here, plug into that phone jack here. And then there's going to be another one that's going to go on the other side of the layout. So we're making progress. I'm hoping by the end of the weekend, I will have this at least mounted to the layout, and I'll be starting to do other things. I should have the plate mounted here. I should have the holes drilled and the micro switches put in place so that the rest of it's just going to be doing it from the back end and actually getting the wiring hooked up. So making some progress. I'm hoping to have this done here pretty quick. But
what are the dimensions on that, Bill?
On this panel?
Yeah, how big is it? It's hard to tell on the screen how big it is.
Yeah, I'll let you know here in just a second. Sorry, Dennis. So we're looking at about 8.5 by roughly 14 inches.
Okay.
So it's good enough that everything's in here. It's not too cramped. Be able to click. He's going to be running one engine at a time for the most part. So most of the time, all of the switches are going to be in the on position anyway. But if he wants to have a little train off on one of the sidings, he'll be able to isolate it and then run some other equipment on here at the same time.
What is this layout going to be on? Is it going to be on legs, a table?
He has a desk.
Okay.
That one of his friends built for him out of, I think it's like quality pine.
Gotcha.
So this is just going to be sitting on top of that desk.
Right.
And again, it's portable, it's light. He'll be able to move it with his wife real easy.
Yeah. So the only thing that's really going to hang down is that control panel, right?
Yeah. And the control panel will just hang down on the side. On the other side of the layout, I'll make a little piece where another one of these will sit so that on both ends, he's going to have the ability to plug in his handheld controller if he wants to work on the other side of the layout. So I'll have a little section hanging down on the other side, but the panel will be the big thing.
Is the layout that big that he can't walk around with his controller?
He could, but he wants the control panel mounted on the side, not on. So,
I got you.
He's gonna. The panel's going to be where he's going to be doing most of his switching. And having his fun at, but then he can, unplug, go around, plug in to another side if he's wanting to do stuff over on, the other side of the layout.
He's able to walk around, right?
Yeah. He's able to get around to where he wants to go.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. This layout's going to be neat.
It should be. Yeah, I'm hoping to, over the next few days to get it powered up because I'm going to be traveling again and going to country again late Wednesday and then be gone for a couple of weeks again. So I won't be on the show for the next 2 to 3 weeks again. That's why I'm hoping this week I'm going to get as much done on his build before I take off again, because I've not made much progress in like the last 2 months on it.
All right.
Well, it's hard to get it on the airplane.
Yeah, it is. As I do more and more international travel, the more I know of things that are just take up space in the suitcase and free up space. You never know. I might be able to start taking some modeling stuff with me.
There you go. There you go. Well, who was? I saw somebody else that was building fast tracks turnouts, and he traveled a lot like you do, and he would build up certain pieces of turnouts while he was gone. Not put the whole turnout together, but do like file his points and his frogs and all that kind of stuff, and keep those pieces separate. So when he got home, he had the pieces all ready to solder together, and he could put them together real quick. But all the filing stuff was easy to get in his luggage. So
yeah, and I've thought about not necessarily doing that, but like taking like a building kit and a few supplies, because you could build up like walls and you could put windows in. You could do a lot of your basic painting, and then do an assembly once you get back home. I don't know that I'll do it on this trip, but maybe on the next one that I've got coming up at the end of April. There's just so many different ways you could take your hobby with you and have a little bit of fun when you're, not doing something else.
Yeah. Just pack it in your carry-on. Don't put it in your checked luggage.
Yeah, I'd actually put it in the checked luggage. I've had TSA stop me before when I'm going through security, because I've had like engines in my carry-on, and they're looking at it. You look at it from the X-ray. You see the outline of an engine, but then you also see something that is round with lots of wires coming into it. Just kind of draws attention as you're going through the checkpoints.
Yeah. Well, but I've seen too many videos of baggage handlers. In fact, I watched one not too long ago. I think it was over in Singapore, and they were not just throwing the stuff over; they were picking it up and slamming it down on purpose.
Yeah,
it was really sad to watch. But I've seen them do it with Southwest. On the tarmac, we're sitting there looking out the window of the plane, making sure our luggage. We're looking for our luggage, and they're over there throwing this stuff like 6, 8, 10 feet over onto the conveyor belt. When they could just pick it up and set it on there. No, throwing it as far as they can throw it.
Yeah,
it baffles me as to what they can't be that bored, really.
You think not? No.
But yeah, you got to be careful what you put in your carry-on for sure. I mean, in your check luggage for sure.
Yeah, in the check luggage, the way I've kind of figured it out over the years is, I'll have a layer of like pants so that I've get like it isolates from the handle and that little thing that sticks up in the back of most suitcases. Then I can put in whatever I'm taking that is more fragile, and then cover it up with shirts. So like the core of my checked luggage is where I can carry something. So it has to be kind of on the small side, but I can protect it well enough so that if it's, that old Samsonite luggage commercial with the gorillas throwing it around, the suitcase might get trashed, but the stuff I'm carrying still survives.
Yeah. Yeah, I could tell you stories from coming back from Europe because I collect coffee cups.
Ooh, so
yeah. She tries to pack those real well. She packed some metal hooks from Italy one time, had ceramic disc on them, metal hooks on them. And they were wrapped up at the store that she bought them at. And she didn't think anything about it. She just stuck them inside the coffee cups and then wrapped the coffee cups up in socks and whatever. And well, when we got to England and this was not but about 5 years after 9/11, and between that and the Lockerbie thing in Heathrow, they were very, very serious about checking luggage. And so I stood there for 20 minutes pulling stuff out, and he's going, "What is this?" He's showing it to me on the X-ray, and I'm going, "I have no idea what that is," which wasn't the thing to say, but I had to peel them all open. Once he saw what it was, then we could go. But then you got to pack the luggage all back together. So
yeah,
it's a lot of fun traveling anymore.
That it is.
Okay, what have we got? Any questions in the chat, guys?
Well, Roy says bubble wrap is your best friend.
This is true.
Yeah.
It also takes up a lot of space. So in your luggage, if you can use socks or underwear or something like that to do the same thing, it sure saves a lot of space.
Yeah, I brought back.
Oh, so Dennis, what are you doing? I saw you put out a video, and I'm watching it, and it ended, and I'm going, "Where the hell? What happened?" I'm looking at the YouTube and going, "What?
Well,
Where's the rest of this?"
it was just I was bench testing an electric motor that I'm going to use for my turntable and a pulse width modulator control.
So
And
that little motor that you had, the little can motor, what was that attached to? That it was just a transfer case
yeah,
to get to get a vertical axle on it.
yeah, this is a gearbox. I don't know how many gears are in it, but it's gear reduced.
It's pretty big.
And if you give it, I think if you give it 24 volts, I think it'll be 6 rotations per minute. And what I'm using is this device here, which I can't tell you what the name of it is or the company that produced it because I can't find it anymore. I bought it on eBay. If you watch Thunder Mesa, Dave from Thunder Mesa Railroad, he used one of these for one of his ON18, just a circle track, as the controller for the DC. And so that's really all I'm doing is it's got a nice rocker switch, so you can change the polarity and the center position is off. And this, I had mine set at I think I can't remember if it was 16 volts or 18 volts, but you have super fine control of starting and stopping of this, and you can get it to just creep at, you can't even hardly recognize it with the eye.
Where'd you get that motor?
The motor,
Yeah.
I got it off of eBay. It comes from China. It took about 3 weeks. I was pleasantly surprised that it did arrive because I've ordered some things from China that, I just had to get my money back. But it actually showed up. So that's what's going to run my turntable.
How come it's so big?
I don't know what the application of this would be for in any other non-model railroad situation. But, in order to get the RPMs from this down to as small as it is, there's some pretty big gears in there. That's all I can say. But it will fit pretty good up underneath the turntable. All I have, I don't know if you can see, but these 4 things here are actually threaded.
Right.
So it's going to be a matter of figuring out how to build some kind of tower for it.
Nathan says, "Oh, excuse
You
me."
can easily find them on Amazon. See, I looked, but sometimes if you don't know what it is you're looking for, it's hard to look.
Yeah.
I actually came up with this part number off of, I bought 2 turntables from Kitwood Hills. And I think he used to sell these with the kits, and then he quit.
Really?
And I was lucky enough that there's a picture in there that you could see this. He doesn't really discuss it, but I wrote that number down and just searched in eBay and found it. I didn't search for it in Amazon. I probably should have, but I didn't know it was coming from China until after I bought it because
my motor from him was different. My
You
motor
what?
setup from him was different than that.
Was it?
Yeah, it's just a small can motor with a gear on it, but that motor turns really slow.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah. Well, I got
Did
another one. Is that I purchased this. I did get this from Amazon, but this thing, it pulls like 5 amps. It's something crazy, and I'm like, I'm not going to put something. And even then, it made a terrible, terrible noise. I'm like, I'm not going to use that. But I did get that from Amazon thinking that it might work, but I don't think it's going to work.
Bernard
This,
wants-
without a doubt, is going to work well.
Bernard wants to know, what if that controller burns out? What's your backup?
What's this with me and things burning out? And what's my backup plan? I don't know.
Was that motor that you got expensive?
I would think that you should be able to find, a pulse width modulator unit somewhere. I just know that this one,
It's just a rheostat, basically.
right. I'm sure that somebody somewhere produces a unit similar to this. That,
If you look up rheostats, it'd be pretty good. All electronics used to be a really good go-to for any kind of electronic part like that, and they went out of business. Yeah. Now, some of the employees bought some of the stuff, but they're not doing everything they used to have. At least that's the last thing I heard. I haven't looked since then, and that's been several months ago. But yeah, I was kind of saddened to hear all electronics went out of business.
Hey, Dennis,
They had a really good selection of stuff.
Bernard wants to know what's your backup in case that burns up. Your backup.
That's what we just talked about.
Oh,
I don't have one. That's actually what we were talking about. Is there ought to be,
forgive me. Okay, I was looking at chat.
There ought to be something out there that you can find.
I wasn't listening to you guys. I was looking at chat.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to use it.
We're used to that, Steve.
Oh my God.
I don't think you're going to use it that much that it's going to burn up.
Nah.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. And this is also, if I recall, I think this is rated for 16 volts. So I'm not going to put any more than 16 volts through this is the plan. The power wart that I get for it, this is rated from anywhere from 12 to 24, and it didn't even pull an amp when I did it on my DC power supply. It didn't even pull an amp. So hopefully it'll work for a long time.
Electric can opener for a motor to turn turntable. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, it's probably something like that. Yeah, very cool. In fact, somebody else I saw that, I don't remember who it was, somebody said something about that. Looked like maybe an automatic door lock actuator, something like that. But
it moves so slow. And in order to get that to move at six rotations per minute, you'd have to put 24 volts to it, and that's still pretty slow. Yeah. So I don't see it being anything you're going to roll a window up and down with, or I don't know why you would use that for an electric actuator for a lock on a car. I don't know.
Oh, Anderson, I love him. And there's Heath. All you have to do is talk gadgets and poof. Like we summon the devil or something.
Yeah.
Well, Heath, if you're here, good to see you, I guess.
I was very pleased with how this worked. I bought this. I've had this quite a while, but I haven't found a motor yet that works well with it, and that's going to work.
Yeah. Well, I was really happy with the motor that he sent with my turntable because it's perfect. Very slow turning. It's quiet. But he quit selling the motor kit, and I'm guessing that's because of supply issue.
Does it have a part number on it?
It probably does, but it's under the layout, and I'm not going to crawl under there, so at least not right now.
Well, if there's ever a reason you need to crawl up underneath there, write that down, because I would like to have it.
I will. I'll look it'll be a while before I get under there, but yeah, it's not a very big motor. It's very smaller than that one. But I've just been using an old DC power pack to do it. And of course, the more power you give it, the faster it goes, but it still is not very fast. It's kind of like that one. You give it a lot of power, it still just creeps.
Yeah.
So what else are we talking about here?
Well, I want to know what Jerry's plans are for his layout. We don't hear enough from Jerry and his
That's
layout.
true. Jerry, put that picture back up and talk about what you're going to do on on building your framing and stuff. We were doing that before the show.
I think this is really cool.
Yeah,
Definitely
very
something
interesting.
that should be shared.
Definitely.
Yeah,
What's up, Jerry?
I've seen something similar to this before.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, now make it big.
So I found these. Rick Bailey's going to do a shelf layout. He's going to use these to create his shelf layout. It's just plywood cut into this C with these different notches, and I'm building my layout with L girders, but I'm using this to make and to be able to attach an upper valance and something that will hold my backdrop easily. So I'm just going to cut these out of plywood, and but basically what they are is you cut these and you start putting them together, right? And use some 1x material, whether it's 1x3, 1x4, I don't know, and that creates your frame, right? Uh, so then you wind up with something like that, and your deck, your bottom is your deck for your trains. The upper part will be a valance. You put lights under it. If you put something on top of it, it'll serve as a shelf, and then you hang it. Put your backdrop on it, and then you hang it with a French cleat. That's it.
Well, what angle is a French cleat cut at? Is that a 45?
Yeah, it's a 45, two 45s, and you just take like a piece of plywood, say I don't know, 5 inches wide, and then you just cut it in half. You mount one piece to the wall, one piece to your project, and you hang from it. You
Great
get
idea.
it? Like
Yeah,
you
I understand the concept,
know,
but I've never looked into it to know exactly. Oh, there it says 45 degrees.
yeah,
Yeah.
it says I sent you a link to this, Dennis.
Oh, thank
Email.
you.
So, but like the bottom part that you mount to the wall, right, is so you're basically hanging it, right? You're just like mounting the top part of the cleat to your whatever you're hanging, your layout, right, and then it mates up with the bottom part, and it's just simple, right? So the bottom part here goes to the wall. This goes to your project, and they just lock in together. And the nice thing about it is, so like you could take this even further and mount the French cleat on your wall, however long you wanted, and then just make little holders for whatever you want to hold and put them anywhere on the wall. So if you wanted a little shelf that was 12 inches wide and you wanted a bunch of them, you could put them anywhere on that wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where at on the project is the best place for the French cleat to go?
On the back of it.
Well, right, but should it be on the back top, the back center, the back
I
top?
I would think from the top. That's what I would think.
Yeah, I would think so because then your weight's going to hang more
Yeah.
like a pendulum.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you're just hanging it like a picture frame would hang on a nail or
You could also do it top and bottom. The trick
yeah,
with the French cleat is not only do you have to have a flat wall,
Is it,
yes.
if you do
but
two
is it
of
going to
them,
be
they have to
is it
be
going to be
perfectly
flush
parallel.
with the wall, or is it going to protrude from the wall a distance equal to the material that you use?
So if you think about it, but either way, right? You can make it so that it's flush to the wall or proud of the wall, depending where you.
How would you make it flush with?
So that top strip, this top strip, right?
Uh-huh.
That top strip there, that's where you would put your cleat.
It would
You
be the
know,
cleat, or you would put
yeah,
it.
you could just make it the cleat. You know
Okay.
what I mean? I guess.
I this
No,
No, you
no,
couldn't make it the
no,
cleat
you
because
could.
you got it recessed.
Yes. Yeah, you couldn't. So yeah, it's going to have to be proud of the
It's going to
wall.
have to be proud of the wall by the thickness
Yes,
Well,
needs.
but they do
yeah.
make metal versions of French cleat,
Yes, yes, they do. They make metal
and
versions.
those are much closer to the
Oh
wall than
yeah, yeah.
gloss.
So I got a metal version at Home Depot or Lowe's
Mm-hmm.
that I mounted to my shelf, my display case that I built for my N scale stuff that I never hung. Right, I could hang it here at my new place, but and it's metal. It's like sticks off the wall an eighth of an inch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had a customer that wanted a headboard hung on the wall, but they didn't want it screwed to the wall.
right,
And I scratched my head for a little bit, and I realized, hey, French cleat worked perfect for that. And
right.
Depot's where I got mine.
Yeah. So
And
me, I'm going to make those C's, those plywood C's. I'm going to mount them to my bench work, and that's going to hold my backdrop and create an upper valance for me.
yeah,
So you're not going to use the French cleat. You're just going to have
No,
the free tubing.
no, no,
Okay.
no. I'm going to
So
have
legs,
traditional
legs
legs.
on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm going to have traditional legs for my yeah.
How many sheets of plywood is it going to take to build the 4C configuration things? That's kind of the one downside that I could see of it.
Uh,
Or after you cut out the center, is that centerpiece also going to be the same width as the layout? Is there going to be some kind of
like you
conservation
could,
of
like I
material?
mean, you would. I would nest them so that I would make first. What I would do if I had to make a lot of them, I would make a template of that. See, right? So that I could take that template, lay it on my product, my plywood, and then nest it, so that I can get the most from. Yeah, obviously you're going to lose the center, right? But it just depends how you lay it out. You're not gonna. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna lose stuff. There's that's just how it is, right? But
right. I
yeah,
was just curious if there was a neat way of preserving some of that material that you would also use somewhere else in the project. Is kind of what I was,
yeah. If
like
you lay it out right
if the
and you
same
have
size that you're cutting out of the C actually also worked as part of the tabletop.
could if you want to, if you really think about it enough.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, it just depends what your dimensions are lengthwise,
right.
right? You know, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, but you can always step. It's not like it's trash. You could use it for something else.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Cool.
yeah, but
yeah, that works.
yeah,
So
and
Steve,
then once it's all together as one unit, you could do anything with it. It's rigid, so like you could put it anywhere. You don't
Yeah.
even
I wish I would have seen that when I built my time saver.
Yeah, you wouldn't even need to
Mhm.
hang it if you didn't want to, right?
Right.
You could rest it on the table, whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
there's stuff you could do with it.
like I say, it's very very good for a small layout or an N scale layout that's not very big that you want to be able to move around. You can have legs that you can take off of it and transport it pretty easy. All that kind of stuff. Well, Steve, how long before you get the steam engine fired up again?
Oh God, I can't wait, man. I'm getting itchy to get that thing out. I'm gonna have to dig it out, man. It's buried in the shop. It's up against the wall behind everything I'm doing with the signs. But yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot lately. It's like, man, it's time to get it out.
Are you going to remember how to drive it after driving this bus?
God, I hope so.
When does when I know it doesn't guys go up in the winter time for you, when does your season start?
Actually, the season never stops,
I
but
know, but for you it stops. When do
it
you start?
basically, spring break kind of time, when the weather starts warming up. I think, well, like the Medford track opens up, I think in April.
Right.
Of course, Train Mountain's always open, but I really wanted to take it out, one really frosty morning, like a really cold morning, because steam always looks really good when it's cold.
Yeah, it does, man.
I just never got it out, but I definitely get that thing out again.
Well, if you were to go up there in the wintertime when it was cold, now I know you camp out when you go up there. And that would be bad enough as camping out when it's really cold outside. Been there, done that. But what would you do with your engine? Would you park it inside overnight?
Yeah. They, with the the back shop area, Claude, that had the elevated tracks. Yeah, you just park it in there.
Yeah.
Because it would freeze.
Yeah, that way
I've got a little heater out here. If it gets really cold outside where it's going to stay like below freezing for an extended period of time, I'll kick the heater on out here, because you do not want that thing freezing, because there's enough, you winterize it and drain the water out of it, but there's always something in there that doesn't.
Yeah, even if you blow the water out with air, it's still
that happened with John's 10-wheeler.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he had it. He didn't get all the water out of it one winter, and when it was stored in Medford, it froze pretty good, and we fired that thing up, and he had several of those little copper tubing lines first.
As a plumber, I can relate.
I wonder if you could use heat tape. Could you use heat tape on anything to keep it? No, because it gets too hot.
What about maybe an electric blanket or something?
Yeah, wrap it up in an electric blanket.
Yeah, cover an electric blanket, and if it's going to get below freezing, just plug that in. But
or just bring it in the house, man.
Oh my, yeah, Mama would love that.
Bring it in the house, Steve.
Always thought, one that, if you had an 1.5-inch scale steamer that, was basically toast, that you weren't going to, make a great coffee table.
Yeah, it'd be a cool coffee table. Yeah, I mean,
What you need to do is build your house up there by Train Mountain and put a garage in the basement where you can park the train and just drive it back and forth.
Hey, there's several guys up there that
I know there are. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
It's like having a lake house with your own boat dock.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be all over that if it was just me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That'd be the only way to do it. I mean, that'd be perfect, because then you never have to worry about it freezing. You just drive it home and park it in the garage, and go out when you want to go out.
Yeah, the guy that owns that 3.5-inch scale one that mine was next to when you were up there. Yeah, he has his trains out there. Yeah, he feels like
Hey, Brian just came in. What's up, Brian? Good to see you.
Hey, Brian.
I gotta get
Soccer season's over.
When you coming on, Brian?
Okay, Brian. Then we need to get you on the show one morning.
You've always got an excuse that you're busy.
Yeah, well,
Steve, Bernard wanted to know, do you pump RV antifreeze through there? Can you put antifreeze in there?
No.
Oh, no.
You can't?
No, you want to keep that boiler as clean as you can. The only thing you put in it is water treatment.
So you can't even use like tap water, because you don't want the minerals in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, you should use some,
distilled water. Yeah, right.
My water here at the house is really hard, man. We've got a lot of minerals in ours.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like to fire it up here at the house very often, because that sediment does, it starts to build up on the inside of the boiler. Chris Brew, he's in chat, he can attest to that, but you always put boiler treatment in the water. Every time you fill it up, it's LSB 8000 is what we use. And it's a concentrate. It comes in little quart bottles.
Well, what is it exactly, and how does it work?
Well, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a chemical that and Chris, you correct me if I'm wrong, but it bonds with the the solids in the water, the minerals and things, and causes that to settle at the bottom of the boiler and not adhere to the side of the side of
You
it.
have, so then you have to clean it out every once in a while.
Well, you blow it out. Yeah, you got the blowdowns on the boiler. So yeah, periodically you just pull those blowdowns, and those are at the lowest part of the firebox boiler area, and that's where everything settles down by the mud ring and things. And so when you blow it out, it'll expel a lot of that stuff in there.
That's what's fun on a steam engine is doing something like that.
Yeah,
they make a show.
It's like on the Durango Silverton, there's a bridge, and I can't remember the name of the bridge, but it crosses over the river going up the canyon, and they do it every time over that bridge.
And that's what they're doing. They're blowing down that sediment.
They're blowing out that sediment, yeah.
Oh, is that what they're doing? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it makes for a good show.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, unless you're standing in front of it.
Oh yeah, that's pretty bad, man. I had the mispleasure of standing in front of it once out in Pennsylvania. Yeah, it was quite a little warm.
Yeah, a little bath.
Yeah.
You'd be hollering, throw me the soap, right?
Yeah.
Well, Roy said something. I was just looking here. He says, do what truck companies do. Run tubing throughout the motor and run your heated water through the tubing and keep your stuff from freezing. Yeah.
Yeah, on a semi-truck,
Constantly
that's fine.
moving
You got
through a
lots of
block
room.
heater.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you'd have to keep water in it all the time, and
And
When
it's
you
only
win-
good. Yeah, it's only good when the engine's running.
Yeah. No, when you winterize this thing, you just you hook it up to a compressor and just try to blow out every bit of water you can out of it.
I mean, it's not like you're, it's so small. It's not like you're winterizing your swimming pool. It's not like miles of pipe. It's just
And it really doesn't freeze unless you've got it in an area where it stays, below freezing for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
My shop very seldom gets that cold.
But yeah, spring's coming, Steve. It's time to
it's here.
clean her out.
It was gorgeous yesterday, man. I was driving out. I was telling Claude up out in Rogue River yesterday, and it was 70 degrees and green grass and oak trees and horses, and it's like, man, it was a fun day to drive a bus yesterday. Kids were good. The route was good. It was like fun.
Yeah, our trees have already budded out here.
Yeah,
Hey,
Mid-March, and the crabapple trees in the back are just pink as they can be. My Japanese maples in the front are starting to leaf out. I mean, have already leafed out and are coming out pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen some trees.
Mid-March, it's like crazy because we could get a 2-foot snow any day here. That's Oklahoma.
Probably will before the end of April out here.
Yeah. Well, they'd already started budding, and we got a hard freeze. We got down to 25 one night. And
Yeah, it's crazy.
that stunted the maple in the front. But I
It
think
don't take much.
better now.
I haven't been in the vineyard lately. I should go in there to see if that's starting to bud. That's bad, man, if it starts to bud now.
Yeah.
Claude,
Yeah.
you had a great update this past week on your layout.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's long overdue.
Yeah,
Only a year.
Long in between next time.
Yeah.
What did you say, Dennis?
Only a year.
Well, actually, I got to look, and it was only 10 months, but I thought it was over a year. But it felt like over a year.
But we've been getting updates here, but
Yeah.
unless
Well, they come a lot faster now. I was kind of waiting until I got to this point.
yeah,
And it just took me longer to get there. I didn't feel like doing shots down in the shop to show you exactly the same thing Dennis was doing, because that's where I got the idea of doing it in the shop and then taking it up there.
yeah,
And which was genius, by the way, because this thing would have been a nightmare to try to do, underneath, standing up and turn
yeah.
trees and trying to do that.
Never
I've still
again.
got a little bit of stuff I got to do, but that won't be so bad. It's not going to be very much.
Yeah, Heath did the same when he did his layout. He
Yeah.
wired
Do
everything
that.
upside down, and
Yeah,
I did
you
the
can
same
do that,
thing
flip
with
it
my
over.
Trail. Yeah.
Hey,
When I
you
get-
See, I
can.
put all the I put all the turnout motors on too. I got all those set up before
Right,
I took it upstairs.
Yeah, it's good.
There's only 2 motors I'm having to attach after I got it up there.
Yeah.
And one of them was on the spline, and the other one was before that. It didn't even come into there, but that was easy enough to do.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody is building a layout, they should break it down into module parts like that, where they could flip it over and do everything without being under it.
And you could do like Dennis did, where he used when he had a section that was putting together, he used a short piece of track in between, like you would on a modular layout at a show.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Am I correct, Dennis? Isn't that what you did? Yeah. See, what I did was I laid all the track, glued it all down, and at the joint where I knew I was going to cut it, I made sure that track was fastened really well. Because some of them have screws in them and nails, track nails and stuff like that to hold them in place so they don't go anywhere. No, I just took a Dremel and went right down that joint. It works fine. I've tested all the joints with an engine and cars, and they just go right over it. Doesn't even phase them.
Yeah, it's no different than
And the two sides were wired separately, and then I've just got one set of wires going from one side to the other.
That's always been my biggest concern, with doing anything like that, is that once you do it, and my concern would be is it works great now, but 5 years from now, is it gonna? So I've always tried to make sure that there is no joints,
Dennis,
no rail joints or any kind of disconnect between the joints.
Dennis, 5 years from now, I won't be able to get up the stairs. No, I don't. The disconnect, it's not really a disconnect between the rails. I mean, as far as electronically, because they're wired separately and there's only one set of wires going over from one to the other. And so that I'm not worried about. The electrical.
The track work I would be concerned about.
That's the only thing. But once I get it balanced, it's not going anywhere. That lift up that I put in, and that was one of the, almost one of the first things I did was figure out that lift up because I knew I was going to have to do it. And I put that in, and I've got dual gauge track going across it. It works as well as it ever did. And, it's a homemade contraption.
If I did it, it would be jacked up in 6 months. That's the point.
Oh, no. If you did it, it would look like it was made like that in the factory.
You do good work.
Yeah, but I'm not too worried about it. It's not something I can't fix after the fact. It's railroad maintenance.
Hey, Claude, can you put in a stair lift once you get to that point where you think you can't?
Wait a minute. Let me go get my wife and see what she says about that.
You need an elevator.
Seriously.
Ain't happening. Well, you could, but my stairs are curved. So it would, and
they have them that you can curve. They curve.
Yeah, you can put a curved one in, but they're ugly. I've seen them.
Yeah, but if you can't get up there, and this is the only way you're getting up there,
building up on the railroad downstairs.
By that time, I'm not going to care that much, Jerry.
No.
No, it's if I had it to do over, I wouldn't have put it up there. I'd put it in my shop and just rearrange my shop.
But you're done now.
But I didn't really want to lose my shop because I use it for too many things. So that's why it went up there. This room that it's in now was being used as indoor storage because it wasn't a room we were using to live in.
How many bedrooms do you have?
There's 3 upstairs, 1 downstairs. The plan actually set up for 5. We put the optional one up for my son, which made the 3rd one upstairs. And then the 2nd one downstairs is where my shop is. That would have been the mother-in-law suite.
So your shop is occupying one.
That's the mother-in-law bedroom, set up. And then we took that bathroom out, and all I have out there is a laundry sink.
Right.
And it made our master closet bigger and all that stuff. So it just worked out really well for us to do it that way. It'll be a selling point for the house.
Right.
Somebody that wants something like that. But it's like anything else, your house only sells if somebody really wants what you've got in it.
So do you foresee yourself downsizing soon? No.
No,
Okay.
no, because we were in a 2,000 square foot house before we built this one. We built this one for need that we had at the time because we were having to keep the grandkids for so long. My son was still living at home,
Right.
all that kind of stuff. So we needed the space. And now he comes and visits. He's got his own room now to come stay in, brings his dog. And, if the grandkids are over here, now they're 18 now, so they won't be here that much anymore. But we've got plenty of space. Dennis has slept up there.
That's what they have hotels for. They got hotels for those people.
Yeah, but it's like if somebody's coming to see me, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's nice.
let me know. We'll make a room for you because we got plenty of room. Why not use it?
Sure. Yeah.
So, it works out good for that, but it is a lot bigger house than what we had. It's over twice what we had before.
But there's no way the wife is letting you get another room for your trains so that you can access them when you can't.
I'm not about to even attempt it.
Man, she's rough.
I got enough stuff to do, pool maintenance and all that fun stuff too. So I don't want to mess with that anymore. Ever since I retired, I've really gotten laid back on doing very much. And so
I don't blame you.
It's enough. And it's actually good exercise for me going up and down, even though my knees are. Yeah. It's actually not crawling up and down the stairs. It's the standing up there for any length of time. That gets to me more than the stairs do. Yeah. So when I'm working on something and I'm back and forth from my shop to the railroad room, I'm doing great. It's when I get up there and I'm up there for 2 or 3 hours standing in one spot, that's what gets to me. So,
what's on your floor?
Nothing right now. It's just subfloor plywood.
So maybe put down that padding. That helps.
I'll put down some carpeting in there once I get done.
And the cushion make you easier.
I'm not making the mistake Dennis did in carpeting beforehand. I'm waiting until after I get it done, then I'm going to carpet. I'll use those carpet squares and put that in there.
All right, man.
We got to get out of here. We're 2
minutes over.
Yeah. Well, it was good to see everybody. Hope you all have a good rest of the weekend and a good week. And Steve and Jerry and Dennis and Bill.
Yep. Good to see everybody.
Well, you'll be here next week, right?
No, I'll
be gone the next 3 or 4.
Halfway around the world next week.
Yeah.
Well, be careful on your trips and take some pictures. And
have safe
travels. Everybody next week except for Bill.
Okay.
See you, everybody. Have a good week.
Take care.
See you later.
Take care.